It was never supposed to be the iPad. That old device had become more of a digital notepad than anything else, used for grocery lists, movie nights, and sharing the occasional memory in the form of photos or playlists. It had no passcode, no secrets, just an unspoken agreement between two people who had nothing to hide. Or so I thought. It's strange how betrayal doesn't always walk in with drama or loud accusations. Sometimes it arrives quietly, almost gently, a soft ping, a screen lighting up in the middle of the afternoon. I remember how ordinary it felt, how harmless. I was standing in the kitchen waiting for the kettle to boil when the AirDrop request popped up. No name attached, just a thumbnail of a photo, blurry, dimly lit, unmistakably personal. My hand hovered for a moment before tapping accept, not because I suspected anything, but because it was habit. But what I saw next wasn't meant for me. It was meant for someone else. And in that single moment, reality shifted. There was no dramatic soundtrack, no thunderclap in the sky, just silence. A stillness that made everything louder inside my chest. Technology had done what intuition had only whispered about in the past. It had pulled back the curtain, not with anger, but with cold efficiency. No room for doubt. No blurry lines to interpret. The photo said everything without saying a word. What stunned me wasn't just the image. It was the delivery. The way. This quiet machine, this tool meant to bring convenience and connection, had suddenly exposed something intimate, something raw. And the cruel irony was, it wasn't even trying. It didn't care. It just did what it was built to do, transfer information. In a time when people bury their secrets behind passwords and private messages, it was the shared device, the thing. We trusted the most. That broke the illusion. There was no confrontation yet, no explosion. Just a digital accident that slipped through the cracks of secrecy. And somehow, that made it worse. It wasn't a discovery I earned through snooping. It was given to me, delivered to my hands like a gift I never asked for, yet couldn't return. It didn't happen all at once. That's the part that hurts the most. There wasn't a clear moment when everything fell apart, just subtle changes that built up like dust on untouched furniture. A missed kiss at the door, a smile that no longer reached her eyes, laughter that felt rehearsed. Love doesn't usually vanish in an explosion. It fades in fragments. At first, I blamed the stress. Work had been demanding, and we were both juggling too much. I told myself everyone goes through rough patches. That's what marriage is, right? Seasons of silence, waiting for warmth to return. But days turned into weeks, and the warmth never came. Instead, there was distance. Not the kind you measure in miles, but the kind you feel between two people lying side by side and still feeling alone. She was present, but not really. Her eyes were always somewhere else, her phone an extension of her hand. Conversations grew, shorter, dinners quieter. Even the way she said my name felt different, flatter, like it was just a sound, not a feeling. I tried to hold on, tried to believe it was just a phase, but I was watching a painting slowly losing its color. I remember the nights most vividly, lying awake while she turned away from me in bed. The weight of her back facing mine said more than any argument could. I'd reach out sometimes, just to feel her, just to remind myself she was still real. But her shoulders tensed. Her breathing changed. I could feel the walls going up one invisible brick at a time. I questioned myself endlessly. Was I not enough? Did I say something wrong? Was I too distracted? Too predictable? You start to doubt your own worth when someone you love becomes a stranger in the same room. You replay conversations, dissect glances, count the moments where love used to live. And still, I didn't want to believe it. Because acknowledging what was happening meant accepting that the story we built together was crumbling in silence. It meant facing a truth I wasn't ready for. So I clung to what little routine we had left, hoping she'd return to me. But every smile she gave me felt borrowed, every hug rehearsed. The unraveling wasn't loud. It was quiet, but constant, like watching a candle burn down to its final flicker. He showed up on a Sunday, early afternoon, the kind of day that's supposed to be slow and quiet, filled with laundry, leftover coffee, and the smell of something baking in the oven. I wasn't expecting anyone. There was no knock, just the sound of the door handle turning, like someone who thought they belonged there. He walked in like he owned the air between the walls. Tall, tense, eyes burning with something far past anger. I didn't recognize him at first, but something in his face, it was familiar in a way that made my stomach turn, as if I had seen echoes of him in that photo I never should have opened. He said my name, sharp and low, like he had been, practicing it, and then it clicked. I didn't ask who he was. I didn't need to. The silence between us said enough. He wasn't just some stranger. He was the other side of a story I had only just begun to understand. And in that instant, we were two men bound not by anything mutual, but by the same wound, different roles, same damage. He stepped closer, not yelling, not screaming, just seething, like he had carried this moment in his chest for weeks. His words came out fast, accusations, confessions, fragments of conversations I'd never heard but somehow knew were true. I tried to speak, to calm him, to explain that I didn't even know. But reason doesn't work on people drowning in betrayal. Then the shove came. Quick, clumsy, more hurt than harmful. It wasn't about power. It was about release, about taking pain and throwing it into the nearest target. His hands were shaking. Mine were frozen. I didn't hit back. Not because I couldn't, but because I understood. In that moment, I saw him for what he really was, not a villain, not a thief, but another man who had believed in a promise that was never real. We were both fighting ghosts, clawing at the ashes of something we never truly had control over. He left without another word. Just the sound of the door slamming behind him and a silence so deep it rang. Nothing was the same after that. Not the house, not her, not me. Some confrontations don't end in victory. They just leave you standing in the ruins, trying to breathe through the dust.